On the news, President Buhari reverses suspension of REA MD Damilola Ogunbiyi. Tinubu reiterates support for President Buhari, debunks third-term agenda. And at least 50 killed in stampede as Iran buries slain general. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. President Muhammadu Buhari has nullified the suspension of Damilola Ogunbiyi from her role as Managing Director of Rural Electrification Agency, REA. In a tweet, the presidency announced that President Buhari on Tuesday ordered that Ogunbiyi's suspension be reversed. It further stated that the president has accepted Ogunbiyi's resignation to enable her take up her new UN appointment. This follows her appointment by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres as the Chief Executive Officer of the Sustainable Energy for All. Minister of Power Saleh Maman had earlier on December 24 ordered the indefinite suspension of Ogunbiyi over alleged malpractices. National leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has dismissed the claims that President Muhammadu Buhari would seek a third term in office. Tinubu, who visited President Buhari on Tuesday, said this while addressing State House correspondents. The APC leader stressed that President Buhari would not be interested in extending his tenure in office after 2023, even if it was offered to him. Tinubu's reaction is the latest among many others of allegations that the president was nursing a third-term agenda.
Distractors are many people who are always suspicious will make accusation. But I was in the trench. I was in the struggle for democracy. I was in the trench and in opposition to a third-term agenda of a former leader of this country with Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. President. I know he will never. He has the courage and the character to refuse such a temptation, even if offered to him. I believe in him, and I believe Nigerians should, believe in him. The challenge of turning the ship of this nation around is a continuum and continuous effort. And that is what we should get ourselves concerned. Yes, politics is intoxicating, is flamboyant, is interesting, but we cannot continue in perpetuity, one after the other. We have to relax, show concern for the people of the country, and see to the effort of the president that we manifest in the new, united, and prosperous country. We are still not there.
Meanwhile, Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, has announced that President Muhammadu Buhari will not handpick a successor at the end of his tenure. Adesina, during a TV interview, said President Buhari is interested in who succeeds him, but will not manipulate the process to favor anyone. The presidential spokesperson was reacting to a statement by Tunde Bakari, serving overseer of the latter rain assembly, who urged the president to be involved in the choice of his successor in order not to destroy his legacies. Adesina also reacted to calls from civil rights groups asking President Buhari to publicly declare his assets. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, in a statement over the weekend, argued that the non-disclosure of assets by public officials contravenes the provisions of the Constitution. But reacting to the statement, presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina said there was no law that mandates the president to declare his assets publicly. To security now, 2 soldiers have been injured in a foiled Boko Haram ambush on the convoy of the theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Olusegun Adeniyi. The Army confirmed this in a statement signed by its operations media coordinator, Aminu Iliasu. Iliasu said the attack took place about 2 kilometers to Auno in Kaga local government area of Borno State when the commander was returning from Jacana. Adeniyi was on his way back to Maiduguri after a visit in Jacana where the insurgents struck on Saturday. The insurgents were however repelled by troops who engaged them in a gun battle and subdued them. Iliasu described the failed ambush as a clear display of misguided desperation to stage a reprisal following the recent neutralization of several of their top commanders on December 6th. While the Nigerian Army has promised to launch an investigation into accusations of extortion by soldiers, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum had earlier in a video confronted soldiers manning Maiduguri-Damaturu Expressway, accusing them of extorting travelers. In reaction to this, the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Aminu Iliasu, in a statement, assured that the allegation will be duly investigated and that culprits will be dealt with accordingly. He, however, noted that the outburst of the governor could be counterproductive in the fight against insurgency. Iliasu also assured Nigerians of the Army's commitment to protecting lives and property. Well, to tackle the recent spate of insecurity in Nasarawa, the state government is holding an expanded security meeting presided over by the governor, Abdullahi Sule. The meeting follows a resurgence of farmer-herder clashes last week at the borders between Nasarawa, Benue, and Taraba states. Secretary to the government, Tijani Aliu, revealed that though the clashes were not severe, the government deems it necessary to take precautions to avert an escalation. He, however, expressed surprise at the resurgence of the clash and called on stakeholders to rise in defense of peace. Present at a closed-door meeting are security heads of the state, traditional rulers, leadership of Tiv Development Association, the leadership of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, socio-cultural groups, local government chairmen, political heads, among others. Meanwhile, in Edo State, leaders of the People's Democratic Party in the South-South state have been attending marathon meetings to resolve gray areas in its forthcoming congresses. The meeting held at the Benin City residence of the state party chairman, Dan Obi. In attendance were 10 leaders, each of the senatorial district, governorship aspirants such as Kenneth Imaswagbon, Gideon Ikine, Ifalui Isibo, and Honorable Omorige Ogbede Ihama. Speaking to newsmen at the end of the meeting, Obi described the outcome as wonderful. He said the meeting reinstated their resolve to win back Edo State, as only 10 PDP members are in the Edo State House of Assembly, as opposed to 24 previously. Obi expressed confidence that the PDP will reclaim leadership of Edo State in the next round of elections. Well, the Kwara State High Court in Ilorin has ordered the Kwara State government to halt demolition of Ile Arugbo, property of the late Olushola Saraki. The building, which served as the political home of the late Kwara politician, was demolished last Thursday amid protests by residents of the area. Delivering its judgment, the court granted an ex parte injunction restraining the government from constructing anything on the land or going near it, pending the determination of the motion on notice. Meanwhile, the Kwara State government said it has not been served any court order. Speaking through its communication commissioner, Murtala Olarinwaju, the state government alleged that the narrative about the government Saraki's home was a fabrication by the opposition to cover up for their lack of documentation confirming their ownership of the property. Well, the federal government has filed charges against the president in Kansu, the Surveyors Council of Nigeria, Joseph Olorunjuwon Agbenla for alleged abuse of office. Agbenla retired as the Permanent Secretary and Surveyor General of Lagos. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, charged him with receiving about 5 million naira as allowances for conferences not attended. The 4-count charge was filed before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory and has been assigned to Justice A.O. Obong. Across the world, more women are continuing to challenge occupation stereotypes in the midst of predominantly male professions. Despite all odds, some women are crossing over to establish careers for themselves in places many wouldn't dare. In this next report, we bring you the story of a 47-year-old female auto mechanic who is succeeding in doing what many will call a man's job.
Priscilla Nduka has earned a name for herself doing what she loves to do best. She's fondly called Madame Volvo because that is her specialty. This is not a first occupation. Early in her life, Nduka was quick enough to realize what she wanted and the importance of chasing her dreams. To tour that path, she enrolled in classes at the National Directorate of Employment, a government-run technical school, and not for once did she consider the auto mechanic job as one strictly for men.
When I started, some people in our workshop then, some people when they come, they say, this small girl, what are you doing here? Can you be able to do this thing? Don't break your waist too. But I love them. I know that they will just say it, but I know it's not real. So, customers too, sometimes they will open up their mouth and say anything that will be offensive. But being customers, you will bear it and talk to them the way they will calm down. But to you, it's an insult.
Nduka's prowess in fixing Volvo cars spans across 27 years of practice, and it is not surprising that she is popularly called by her nickname, Madame Volvo.
When I started in this Abuja, I'm the only one that work on Volvo perfectly. So anywhere they go, the customers, they will just, I would say that the car will not be properly fixed. Either they tow it here or they manage it to this place. And no matter how bad that Volvo car is, when it comes here, it must be revived. It must be okay before it goes home. So from there, they call me Mama Volvo.
Whether manually or with the use of scanners, Nduka majors in detecting problems and getting them fixed. She says this strategy of excellence coupled with her drive has worked for her greatly.
I am very, very happy. Do you know that any time if I'm annoyed, I enter into workshop, face any work, the annoyance will go. They will be very happy to try. When they see me, they will be happy. They say, oh, if it's a woman, she can do it. Let me go and try her. That's what they do. And when they come, they don't regret it. Since I have that joy, I have that passion for it, I don't have any serious setback or so. Because people patronize me. They come. Customers come. When they hear that it's woman that is working on Volvo, or go to this shop, you see one lady that is working on Volvo, they would like to come.
Her first son is learning fast from his mother. Like other students she trains, he says the experience is worthwhile.
I have plans of expanding it, working other cars. Having the plan of learning more about other cars, not only Volvo. Whenever I see her working, I have this courage. I'm impressed. A woman mechanic, wow, is one of the like something unique. So I love what she's doing.
Nduka says she still has a lot she wants to teach, and she believes getting a bigger place will help achieve that dream.
Both university students and secondary school students, like technical school, they come, learn, that's practical part of it. When they go to school, they learn theory. Workshop is where you see practical part of the job. So if I have the opportunity of having a bigger place where I'll be able to teach them. If I have the opportunity of having a school, I'll be happy.
With a growing number of women thriving in male-dominated jobs, the pattern change has come to prove right the saying that what a man can do, a woman can indeed do better. Onyi Adekunle, TV360, Abuja.
We'll take a break now and return with more stories. Don't go away.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Corruption not in my country.
That was a very good business. Yeah. The furniture you brought was very perfect.
But that's how we roll.
Because let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much was it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I don't do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for vendor that business.
Take.
Your loss.
But it is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
Now get out.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No, you will die. That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people, make we only add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Back, let's now join Annette Felix for news in business. Hello, Annette.
Hello, Fidelia.
So, what's making headlines over there?
Well, the federal government has been charged to come up with more innovative ways to generate revenue for the country. Business expert Paul Alaje gave this charge during a chat with TV360 Nigeria. Speaking on Nigeria's rising debt profile, Alaje charged the government to explore new means of revenue generation like equity financing and public-private partnership.
When you talk about debt, it's quite huge. It's over $80 billion. And debt servicing is taking meaningful chunk of our revenue, which makes it a sunk cost in a way. And lastly, when we look at debt servicing, the debt component of the national budget, which is approximately what we will generate from crude oil, it's also very, very, very huge, and it's one that has a huge impact, negative impact, or might have negative impact on the economy. But that does not mean that we should not remain hopeful. My hope is that this year we're going to see innovation in managing the economy, which means necessarily instead of going for the debt option, we might be looking at other options of equity financing, more of PPP, more public-private partnership to finance our economy and bring useful infrastructure, most needful infrastructure, and have the country develop.
The federal government has revealed that the Finance Bill 2019, when signed into law, will ensure that small businesses with turnover less than 25 million naira will be exempted from companies' income tax. Currently, all companies are expected to pay to the federal government 30% of their profits as companies' income tax. However, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says once the bill is signed into law, companies making a turnover of less than 25 million naira will no longer need to pay this tax, while those that earn between 25 and 100 million naira yearly would pay 20% as companies' income tax. She says those earning over 100 million naira will continue to pay the 30% of their profits as CIT. The federal government has announced that it will start regulating estimated electricity bills issued by power distribution companies to their unmetered customers from February. According to the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, the federal government's power sector regulator, DISCOs, that fail to provide meters to customers would only be allowed to issue a capped sum as estimated bills to respective power users. NERC's chairman, James Momo, told journalists in Abuja on Monday that once the regulation was released, unmetered customers would pay only what the commission compelled DISCOs to collect as estimated bills. Momo noted that the capping regulation will make customers seek for meters, adding that it would also make power distributors provide the facility.
That was a very good business. Yeah. The furniture you brought was very perfect.
That's how we roll.
Because then let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much was it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I don't do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for vendor that business.
Take.
Your loss.
It is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
I get that.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
you will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people, make we only add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
It seems to be a profitable year for investors so far as the Nigerian Stock Exchange records its 7th straight day of bullish performance. Major indicators like the all-share index is up to 0.90% today, and the market cap is rounding off to over 13 trillion naira. Now, the summary here shows the top gainers for today: Dangote Cement, Zenith Bank. We also see that Presco and Nascon Allied Industries Limited are making gains in the NSE today. Our top losers here, dominated by the oil and gas sector, Forty Oil, Guarantee Trust Bank, and we also see that NRC PLC and MTN Nigeria Limited are recording lots of sell-off in their share prices. Moving on now, here's the market summary showing higher numbers on the NSE compared to yesterday. Volume of shares traded came in at 446.383 million naira. Shares sold worth over 5 billion naira. And that's in a total of 5,727 deals. And on to the foreign scene now. Let's see, just as it is on the NSE, Nikkei is the only market here that is making gains, with the all-share index wrapping up at just at 1.60% gain. But the FTSE and the Dow Jones are recording bearish markets today as we see decreases in their share price and the all-share index. And that's it from here, Fidelia.
Well, thank you very much, Annetta. To the foreign scene, at least 50 people have been killed, with over 200 injured in a stampede that erupted at a funeral procession of Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani, who was killed in a U.S. drone attack last week. The death in Soleimani's hometown of Kerman led to the postponement of his interment, and authorities say a new time will be announced later. Iran's foreign minister, Javad Zarif, called Soleimani's killing an act of war, adding that the country's response would be against legitimate targets. The U.S. reportedly denied a visa for Zarif to visit the United Nations in New York this week, a move that appears to breach an agreement guaranteeing foreign officials access to the UN headquarters. However, Washington says it can deny visas for security, terrorism, and foreign policy reasons. 4 civilians, including a child, have been shot dead as suspected Al-Shabaab Islamists attempted to attack a telecommunications mast in eastern Kenya near the Somalia border. 2 of the attackers were also killed by police. Police spokesperson Charles Owino said that more than 10 attackers had attempted to destroy the mast on Tuesday morning. 2 of them were shot dead. Kenya is on high alert after the Al-Qaeda-linked group on Sunday stormed onto a U.S. military base in the coastal Lamu region, destroying several aircraft and killing 3 American citizens. And in sports, Liverpool has announced a new kit deal with Nike for the 2020-2021 season. The club's managing director and chief commercial officer, Billy Hogan, made the announcement on Tuesday. It replaces the club's current deal with New Balance after the Premier League leaders successfully won a high court dispute with the manufacturer in October. The club's multi-year partnership with the apparel giant will begin on the 1st of June as they move to a new training facility in Kirkby, England. All that is on News Now. Many thanks for joining us. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.